Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of A to Z, starring me, Zero Rimson, and my co-host, Aaron Chase. For those of you who don't know, me and Aaron are very similar, but also very different. He coming from the realism, the pessimistic, the actual, I from the rainbow-colored glasses, the airy-fairy, the optimistic, and together we have this yin-yang energy where we talk about whatever we want and we bounce ideas off each other. Sometimes they get super esoteric, sometimes they get silly. Today we're talking about something. Again, this is one of those episodes where we don't know what it is and then it's going to be something. So here we go. Words. Aaron seems to have thought of a thing as we started. He's not naked, you guys. I know it looks like he's naked. He's not naked.
It always looks like I'm naked.
Mm-hmm.
The level of editing that's going to happen in the future, for myself personal, like you're going to be fine because you don't curse or say anything up.
Yeah.
I'm fucked in the future. You understand that, right?
No, explain.
Oh, I'm so fucked. Just because, like, I have that darker, between the two of us, I have that darker edge. You know how you just sort of ramble on?
Yes.
Imagine if you rambled on and then planted little fucked up landmines for yourself in the future through rambling on.
Okay.
Like,
so you're worried about the Kevin Hart of it, that somebody's going to comb through your stuff and be like, oh, he said this thing. And
yeah,
then,
well, I have no intention to be a mogul, which is why I think I'll be okay in that regard. But
Yeah.
like, eventually,
Yeah,
eventually, because of something I said or because I dated some crazy fucking girl, Will and George were talking about that like it's a numbers thing. Eventually,
out of the sheer number, because I'm crushing it so much. I'm kidding. But yeah, absolutely. I get why you say that. Even again, it's like, if anything, media has shown us that nobody is safe, because if you can be held accountable for stuff you freaking said as a teenager, then like, yeah, there's a song on my old vlog YouTube page, like, because I also had a vlog in high school. It wasn't great. I love it. Sometimes I think about like doing things. You know how you have ideas, but you're not committed to them too much, and like they feel very self-serving. I might do it on a birthday, like maybe next year I might do it. Or I kind of want to do a reaction to my own like vlog from back then, like looking at who I used to be and just laughing at how cringe I was in my teenage years. And because there's some stuff in there that's like, oh, buddy. And then there's other stuff I'm like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, there's a video that's like so to the T, because it is still me, but it's like, it's so on the nose, like exactly where my brain is at. And I remember it. It's so funny to me, but I don't think anybody else will. There's a video on that page where in the episode I lost my PSP. Like it's gone. I lost it somewhere, and I'm like emotionally devastated about it. Like I'm like, I don't know what happened to it, and it sucks, and I'm like crying on camera, and then I'm like, but it's gonna be okay. And I pulled myself out of it, but the way I pulled myself out of it is I just keep going like, well, at least I didn't get raped, I ain't never been raped, so and I just keep like bringing that up as a point of like why my life isn't bad. And I'm like, that's a big jump. You lost your PSP and I guess, but like also don't do that, dude. Don't do that.
my hope is that all of this stuff is like the Elvis effect. Does that make sense before I keep going?
Nope.
So, you know how Elvis was the first, like, modern, like, he was the first guy to go through that. The first guy to be, like, that type of famous. And, of course, he did the drugs, and he got the prostitutes, and he died on the toilet.
Yeah.
He didn't have anybody to look before him to be like, oh, this is how I should navigate this.
Yeah.
My hope is that through all of these, like us trying to come up now, seeing Kevin Hart and Ari Shaffir and Joe Rogan, watching all of those guys, seeing how they've handled it, now teaching us how to handle it. But then I'm sure there's going to be cracks that we don't realize and so on and so forth. Also, I really need to pee. Should I just do this now, or should I? What do you think?
How bad do you got to go? I mean, you should definitely go before it's over, but like, I just had one follow-up question to the thing that you said.
Okay, I'll do the follow-up question. I'm going to urinate.
Actually, you know what? I'll ask you. You go away and then come back with your answer.
All right.
So the question is, what is the most likely thing that will get you got? What's your most likely cancel situation.
I got you.
Okay. So while he's away and the boys will play, I'll talk to you guys. Because there's nobody in the live stream right now, that if you're watching this, you're watching it sometime in the future. We appreciate those of you that watch this like on your own time a lot. And also those of you that do show up to the live stream, like it's really cool. We do this on IG. You can watch this on the Buddy System YouTube channel. I don't know why I'm plugging it, because that's the only place it'll be, but you can, and all this stuff, and I'm going to do it at the end, all this stuff. Neither here nor there. What I'm asking you guys is in the comments on YouTube, if you could, write in the comments, what is the thing that you think you'll be canceled for? Like if you were famous, if you were well known, or when you get famous and when you get well known, what would the media see that would most likely get you canceled? Like, is it ideas about genders? Is it ideas about racism? Is it ideas? Because everybody knows, everybody has one thing in their head that they might have let slip or that comes out somewhere, and you might get canceled for it. So Aaron's back, and he's going to answer his version of it. But in the comments, leave yours.
There's nobody here.
There's nobody here, like in the live stream, but when we upload this to YouTube later, that's what I was telling you. It's a weird dichotomy. It's like talking to the chat that isn't here right now. They don't know it, but we do. But then, like, there is also a future audience, because most of them are comics, from what I've seen. It's
going to be two things.
Two things. Okay.
Yep. It's me using the word
for number one.
Ooh, three. Well, it depends on how. Okay, three things. Three things.
No, I will give you top two, because if you keep going down, you're going to think of more things.
All right, two things. First thing is my use of the word faggot.
Okay.
And I think that the issue is more going to be that people don't understand where I'm coming from when I use the word.
Okay.
So I used to use it the way middle schoolers of our age used it, which never. In our, like, you hear Louis talk about that too. It was never something we thought of as a sexual thing. It was just an insult. And then as I got older, I realized, like, oh, okay, that's mean. Fair enough. Right. But now I use it I use it because it is inherently shocking and offensive, and I think it is an insult to the gay community to not say it in conversation, in the same way that, like, reading Huckleberry Finn, if you take out nigger, like if you literally take that out, you're kind of sanitizing history. You're making it as though this shit didn't happen. And so when I use it modernly now, when I use it, it's not to disparage anybody. It's to say, like, it's to acknowledge the realism of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. Because, if you're telling a story and in the story you got called it, or if you're even using the analogy of, like, look at how stupid this is when I put it in the context, but it's like actually what happened. For you to not do those jokes is like, that never happened. Like, nobody ever did, like, mean stuff with those things, and it wasn't crazy or stuff. Again, the lack of wanting to analyze it or look at it at all is a part of it. I understand that. I get what you mean. But then again, we're both comics, and there's a certain level of, like, until you're on stage and get it, until you've, like, performed, there is a level of, like, people are just going to feel like you're trying to get away with something. Or some people. Obviously, there are smart individuals who get it. And not to say that people who don't get it aren't smart, because obviously they have personal stuff in their life.
Look at you trying not to get in trouble. Look at you go.
I'm dodging these lasers. I'm trying to...
And to be fair to those people, there is a sense of just trying to get away with it. Like, as a comic, that's also part of it, is see what you can get away with. That's kind of part of it. Right. But then the second thing, and the without question is going to happen, is just some sort of Me Too thing.
Oh, okay. Well,
I will elaborate.
Why do you, please elaborate. Why do you think without question? Because that makes you look real guilty, my guy.
It's because if you can say, if it's a he said, she said, if it's a after the fact, I did not feel comfortable, if it's a I just don't like the way they treated me. Because I've never, like, raped anybody. But if the standard of rape is even after the act, if that person then felt uncomfortable afterwards, then it was rape, then I genuinely have no idea. It's a numbers game.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So it's one of those things where like, and because like I don't want to say I was abusive because I don't think I was like in a wife beater, make me a sandwich, bitch. Like I wasn't that, but I was immature and I didn't understand myself. I didn't understand what love was. I didn't understand how to have a healthy relationship. And so
it is that weird dichotomy that much like the witch hunt on your like teenage years, right? Or your young adult years, that there's this level of like judgment from my teachers in art school used to call it presentism, and it was used towards art. And it's essentially judging art of the past based on standards of the present. And it's like, that's unfair because at the time they didn't have what we had. They didn't know what we know. So to do that it's unfair to do. It's not to excuse all of the behavior. At the same time, you got to understand as a kid. Okay, this is about to be a long stretch. Not rant wise, but like as far as like where I'm reaching and how I'm going to make pedophilia. So the reason pedophilia is wrong is because the age disparage is so wide that an adult could easily take advantage of a kid. If you understand that a kid is innately dumber than an adult, then it should stand to reason that when you were young and stupid and impressionable, that a lot of the stuff you did was because you don't know better, because you're stupid. Nobody taught you that those things were bad or wrong, or if they did, you're just a stupid kid and you don't realize how serious those things. It's kind of like the kids of this generation eating Tide Pods, or like, not even this generation, but it's like the Tide Pod thing or any other stupid thing that we did or our parents did before us. Like we all went through the phase of called growing up. You do dumb stuff, you learn from it, you don't do that dumb stuff. And the problem is looking at the time when you're dumb and supposed to be learning under the lens of you should already know innately is kind of flawed in and of itself. Again, it's not to excuse abuse or to say that like what you did was right or wrong. Like, but it is like yeah, you said it's like you're immature. Like when you're right and you have a girlfriend, those innate feelings of like jealousy and I want them to be mine and like why won't she do this thing for me because I want it. It's like want and like no very little consideration of the other person. Like that's kind of a part of it. Like that's kind of a part of it. And to expect somebody to just know that from birth is insane. But there's stuff. Go ahead.
I have multiple things. I might go on a zero rant, so just get ready.
Oh boy. All right, let me get my seatbelt.
All right, cool. It's going to be a zero rant, but in the yin version where it gets really dark and disturbing. Oh. It's sad.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Slipped into one of these episodes.
I guess the first part of it is there is a line of like, even if you're young, it's like, all right, this is true. You know Brock Turner?
Of course I know Brock Turner.
Okay. There's a line with Brock Turner. Where
he's also, wasn't Brock Turner a college student, though?
He was, you think he was like 21? No, maybe, I'll look him up.
Listen, I'm not going to say that that's also, like, I mean, it is young, but it's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
What I'm talking about is like maybe like anything before I would say junior year of high school. And not to say juniors are smart, but I feel like that's the point at which I would go, you should know better about relationships and how those functions and people. Now, obviously there's discrepancy, but personally I start going like, yo, like that's
where it gets complicated for someone like me. So first thing is Brock Turner. I looked it up. He was 21 when he did what he did. Pretty goddamn excusable at that point. Yeah. You're having sex with a passed out girl behind a dumpster. Like Jesus Christ.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And how you justify that in your head. Though to be fair, again, this is presentism also. Like as I was just ranting about that, I'm doing the same thing because in the 80s and the 70s, like dudes apparently did that all the time. And I was like, I don't understand how you justify like she can't move.
Right.
Like that.
And it's a lot of work. You got to pick them up and
swing them. Lot of work. It's also a lot of work. You got to to a place, make sure nobody's around.
Right. It's a whole thing. It's a whole escapade.
Get out
But
of there.
with what you're saying about like was it you said junior year of high school?
Yeah, junior year of high school.
So for me, I think I'm the type of person who was put in such a fucked up situation that it took throughout my 20s. I never did anything like Brock Turner because I'm not a fucking monster, but,
Right.
but like, it took me a long time to figure this out because I just wasn't put in a position to understand anything. I had to make really fucked up mistakes and learn things the hard way to learn things. And
Right.
unfortunately, with relationships, learning things the hard way means that you're now affecting another person and vice versa. So it's like, it's frustrating for me because I know eventually, give it time, eventually someone's, as soon as I get in some sort of level of success, some sort of notoriety where enough people see me where I'm like moderately famous, eventually. So like, that's frustrating and nerve-wracking for me at times because I won't even, whatever it is, I probably won't remember. And I'm starting to realize that that's part of not being mindful. Like, been working on being mindful, and my memory of things that have happened is better because I'm aware presently. Whereas at the time, I was living in third person my whole life. So I wasn't even like fully present during moments. So it's gonna be shitty.
Yeah. I mean, I could think of maybe one logically that I would have to go ahead and be like, that's more than fair. Take my L, go, hey, you know what? That was on me. I was stupid and dumb. And to be fair, this person and me are like chill. So like I pretty much think it's like it's fine. But like as far as that whole thing, she's the only one who I would actually have to go like, yo, hands up, you like got me. That's on me. Hold that L. I should have been smarter. I should have been better. That was totally my fault. However, every girl posts that. Yeah, you got nothing. Like, yeah, you're like, and again, it's like, even if you want to make the like afterwards argument, that's the thing. I think you said it on another episode. By the time I started getting at all, that movement had already like fully done a pass. Like, it's not that it's over or anything, but like it did such a hard wipe on dudes that now it's like, just go always ask. Just always ask. Even if it cuts off the emotional, like, yeah, we're doing it. It's like, I'll go, yo, real quick, just so we're sure here, you're cool with this, right? Like first, I always ask two. I always go, how are you sober? Are you good enough? Do you know where you are? Do you know what's going on? Are you okay? Like, cause I don't want to do anything when you're under any influences or stuff. Once I get that yes, then I go, okay, you're okay with what we're doing. Like we're about to start doing stuff. Are you okay with what we're doing? Once I get that yes, we're fine to play ball. We're playing ball and it's all good.
Zero, do you want to just use my trick, which is a lot quicker?
What's yours?
I just say engage in consensual sexual intercourse. I don't say have sex. I say consensual sexual intercourse. Every single time now, consensual sexual intercourse.
Do you do it that fast?
At this point, yes.
That's how she's gonna get you in court. He said, and I didn't hear him.
There's always something. No, I say engage in consensual sexual intercourse. I don't give a fuck how awkward it is. I don't care how weird it makes it. I don't care if it fucks up the mood. Consensual sexual intercourse. There you go. All right, have fun trying to get me in trouble now, bitch. There you go. Like,
gotcha. I don't trust you even a little bit. Let's have sex now. But you know what? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm less. You know what's weird? This is how crazy my brain is. I'm less concerned about that because obviously, again, I know me. I know what's up. I could like when it comes down to it. There's this weird like it goes back and forth. There are some people who like, and I think this is where yours it's more of a problem because when you have a certain personality, people are going to lean a certain way on you. But this is my dark interpretation. So when your stage image is what it is, people are going to lean a certain way regardless. So if that kind of story comes out with you, they're like, oh yeah, he probably did it. Like, he could say all he wants, but I don't know, man. Yeah, he's talking a real big game about afterward. Like, why would you overcorrect that much if you're doing okay? Like that thing versus me, where they're like, well, he's a swell, sweet kid. Like, I'm sure he couldn't have done it. Like, there's no way. But then there's the other side of that coin where, like, you see Chris Brown and you see, like, all the other people who have done it, and we all just go, but they're so talented, though. And,
Yeah.
like, we don't look at it. And it's like that dark part of my brain that's like, it matters. It 100% matters. We agree that it is bad and we need to get justice for those who are taken advantage of. But in public perception, your art can supersede how people feel about the messed up stuff you do, so much so that even time after time, if it's like a continuous behavior, people will go, well, I mean, I don't think so. Those girls are crazy. That's whatever. Like, it's not good. It's just a thing that happens that I'm very keenly aware of.
Weirdly enough, I actually think in terms of our art and our presentation on stage, I think it's the reverse. I think you would be more. I think if something were to come out about you, you would be in way more trouble than me, because when I go on stage, people are acutely aware, like, oh, there's a lot of problems here. It's like the Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy versus Bill Cosby. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy put all of that shit out there. You knew Richard Pryor was a piece of shit. He lit himself on fire, and he's running around, shot his own car. Whereas Bill Cosby created this squeaky clean, Ellen DeGeneres.
That's fair. That is fair. Because, you see how bad Ellen's getting it for being a mean boss. And it's like she made people eat breath mints. Like, it's like, I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, that is pretty sucky, Ellen. You should have did something. And other times I'm like, y'all sensitive. Y'all trying to get Ellen's head. Why y'all going for Ellen's head?
It's because people's perception of you supersedes getting to know. Like, they don't know. That's the weird thing. That's what freaked me out about slowly getting a fan base, is realizing, like, they're perceiving me in a particular way because they're seeing me at my most charming, most charismatic, most interesting way. They don't know that I'm boring and that I'm shitty and like, so eventually something, what's up?
I was just saying, it's very interesting, like, public perception puts you into a specific box. Like, and you control what that box is as much as you can, but eventually people lock in and go, you are this. And then once you're breaking out of that box, they start getting kind of like, what are you doing? I understood you when you were this. Get back in this. But go ahead.
It's just like, it's just kind of, it is what it is. That's why I'm getting in this place where I'm trying to find who my friends are, who do I trust off the top, like who makes me, who lifts me up, who pushes me to get better. I'm going to focus on myself, not focus on the other people, all that stuff. Like, I'm trying to batten the hatches now, because I know eventually there's going to be a problem, eventually.
Yeah. See, I'm the same way with the crew thing, because I'm very, again, I'm too aware of I mean, I've listened to too much Drake in 2011, where it's like, I can't trust nobody because I'm famous. And I'm like, that's why I'm like, I would like to get the lady that I'm going to be with now before I get on, because then I'll be like, I have that thing where it's like, are you in it for me? Are you in it for the art? Are you in it for the thing? Or are you in it for me? And it's like a trust thing. And it's like something that, like, obviously I'd have to work on and all that jazz. But, like, it's one of those, along with friend circles, like bringing people in. And, like, you know me, again, I'm very open. I'm very, like, everybody's my friend. But, like, also being aware that, like, some of your friends are not your friends. And it's like, okay. But, like, I don't know. It's just that thing about putting your heart out there and on your sleeve. It does leave it more vulnerable than most. So I'm very aware, but I'm not at crazy point yet. Obviously, because I don't have that at all yet. Like, no, I have nothing to want to use yet. So it's going pretty swell. But when I do eventually have things, and obviously my heart is like, I want to help whoever, whenever. but I don't know, like drawing those lines. And I guess that's just the answer, is to have standards. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's what's weird in my headspace, is that I know I don't really have anything, and I
Yeah.
already felt a little bit of that shadiness.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any. I have no control. I have no power at all. And when I say fan base, I know that sounds bigger than it actually is, but like, it's like, if I say if I post like, I'm going to be in Claremont on Saturday, like 5 teenagers come out because they don't have anything to do. It's not, it's not crazy or anything. It's just, it's just weird. It's just a shift. That's all. But, being present, okay, so I got to be vaguish about it because of confidentiality reasons.
Got it.
I know how to be present when I can make it quiet, when I'm listening to my guided meditations, yada, yada, yada. It's very hard to be present during work.
During your job?
Yeah, I'm angry every time I work.
That's interesting. I go back and forth with I'm not angry, but like, as far as present, like, I don't know. It's like a weird, you know how like the extremes look a lot like, sometimes I get presence confused with like zoning out. And some, like, I definitely have moments of like, I'm at work and I'll zone out, but it does make me get through the day, and like, I'm doing my stuff very to the T and on the nose when I'm zoned out. But like, yeah, I can't call that present, because I'm really like not there at all, but it gets me through.
I think I can't zone out because inherently what my job is does not allow me to zone out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interpreting specifically what I interpret in schools. And that's most of my job at this point. I get enraged because it's a projection thing. Like, I know it has nothing to do with me, all the shit. But like, I immediately get sucked back to when I was in school.
Oh.
And I'm furious every time. It's like an inherent, consistent reminder, like, hey, remember all the bullshit that you went through? Hey, remember when your mom didn't give you weekends because she made you do homework on weekends that she made up herself? Hey, do you remember when the teacher said this, and that gave you a bad grade? What's up?
Your mom used to make up homework for you?
I didn't tell you that?
No, that's so that's so crazy.
I did not have weekends. Zero. When I say that my first time ever being left alone to relax was in quarantine, I'm not exaggerating.
Man.
That was
make something out of you. I don't know what she was building, but like, that's that Tiger Mom level of like, okay, even when you rest, you're gonna know. Like, Dragon Ball Z reference. You know Gohan's mom? Chi-Chi?
Yeah.
Yeah, like how she was like, oh, books and studying and books. You're gonna be this. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, geez. Like, yeah, I did my homework when I did my homework. Usually as soon as I got home, because I didn't want to have homework. And I got done with homework and my mom left me alone. Like,
no. I did not have a moment of real relaxation, because I knew I don't want to get crazy with it. Obviously, I had times where I wasn't like, I was doing push-ups when I wasn't writing books. Like, obviously, I had time to relax, but it wasn't relaxed because I was at home where I was always on edge waiting for the next thing to happen. Or I was at school where I just wasn't, like, my brain didn't work well at school. And so literally, the first time I ever got to really relax was quarantine. That's why, like, this big shift has happened for me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Back to what you were saying, though.
Oh, so like, I'll be interpreting, and I'll be fucking furious. I'll be so mad, and like, my brain will take the invasive thoughts of remembering like how I was treated or what I had to go through would pop in. But then I try to meditate and try to get it out and try to breathe. but I can't do that because I'm interpreting, and I don't have
Right.
time to like, hold on, this isn't your class. You're not 7. You're not. This isn't. So
Up
it's
to the age of 7.
yeah.
Everybody's stressed out age of 7, where your mom makes you do math.
I
And
was
please,
I was constantly stressed out, constantly.
I'm teasing you because that's a reality for you, but for the general public,
Yeah,
7 years old is like not. It's upsetting sometimes. It's not that. And this is where you become a unique individual, where it's like, ah, this is mental. This is real deep down course that didn't stop since he was born. That's your
yeah.
baby years must have been wild.
Not like, and this is why I think that people underestimate the level of anger and violence that I would have been capable of.
Mm,
Like, there was this line that I think I figured out pretty early on of like,
mm.
okay, I can,
I see it. It's like, oh,
yeah,
I like a dark door and a light door, and you're like, I see it. I see the door. It's not
yeah.
that far.
Well,
Loop on my hand, turn that knob a little bit.
the like,
How many physical confrontations did you get into as a child, as a kid, like through your teens and before?
through my teens,
So teens backwards, all the way down to birth. How many physical fights had you been in?
I think maybe 5 or 6.
No, that's not that many.
No, but that's because I decided.
No, that's why I'm saying I'm surprised that it
Yeah,
didn't.
but then that's not like, this is going back to the William Holland stuff that I talk about, where your guys' mentality of, we'll just stop being sad, is like, you trick yourself into thinking that, but you're not really not being sad or angry. You're pushing it down. And so I think, luckily for humankind, I pushed it down so I didn't hurt anybody.
For the human race.
Yeah, yeah. But that's not healthy for me, and so all that other stuff.
Yeah. Interessante. Okay. Um, I lost it. I lost my train of thought. Go
Well,
ahead.
regardless, so yeah, I'm just trying to be present, all that cute shit. It's
Okay.
and the
What's your go-to like happy present thought? What's like what is your happy place? What's your
I
like
don't have a happy
when
place.
you don't have a happy place?
No.
Like if you had to imagine a happy place, if you had to pretend, just humor me. What's your happy place look like
On stage, performing.
on stage?
That is when I am most happy.
That is adorable. Okay,
It's sad for
like
me, but all right.
that's sad for you. What?
Because that means that the only time I'm feeling true bliss is
Mhm.
when I have 5 minutes potentially bombing on stage. And I'm working and yada yada, all the cute shit. But like, if I were to say consistently, when am I most happy is when I'm performing.
Okay. What is it about that it's like that brings you the happy, the thing closest to happy? Okay. Where does okay, pause. Guy question. Pick me, teach. Stage time, having sex with a girl.
Uh huh. Depends on where you're asking me in my life. So do you want modern or do you
I
want?
want, I want modern. Like you right now.
If this is stage and this is sex, are you saying a girl or my current relationship?
I'm saying your current relationship. Let's go whatever you personally, and to keep you out of trouble, we'll say best sexed with your girl who you love.
Okay.
Okay,
If this is
so
this is stand up,
stand up.
I would say this.
Okay, like this much? That's that's this is the
Because
gap.
you have to understand, I've had sex.
Yeah, I mean you've had stage time too. Like I don't,
Right, but there's like a it's okay. The reason I'm so insane about stand-up comedy is because I think I was born to be a comedian. And this comparison's going to come off douchey to people, but in the same way that Michael Jordan was
okay,
born to be a basketball player,
okay,
I was born to do stand-up comedy. That's all I've ever wanted to do. And
okay,
people just would not let me fucking do it. So like
okay,
by the time now that like, oh, I'm doing it, it's like fucking oh, this is what I'm doing. Nothing else matters. You don't matter, you don't matter, the world doesn't matter. I could give a fuck about anybody else. This is what I'm
okay,
doing. Yeah.
okay, okay. So if this is sex to stand up, let's say, where would you put? Like you said, you don't enjoy eating food though.
No, not at all.
So how do you feel about sleep?
I'm unconscious. So good.
So good. Okay, where would you put sleep?
Lower.
Lower than sex.
Yeah.
That's interesting. For me personally, now to be fair, I'm not having sex. I do enjoy a good make out. I love a good session. Mine's is kind of like sleep. Sleep is pretty top tier for me. I gotta be honest. Like sleep is my one of my jams, which is really counterproductive to the whole chasing your dreams thing. But that's why mine. I think people underestimate how much of a worker I am. That it doesn't look like I'm putting in a lot of effort. Like you're like go 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 go. Mine's looks like go go go. But that's because I'm constantly fighting against this part of me that wants to chill. Where like yours is like a manic push. That's like you gotta do this. You gotta do this. Mine's is like, hey man, just like relax, relax. Don't do anything. Just it'll be fine. And I'm like, no, we gotta, we gotta make a joke. We gotta
I
go
have
make
a
a video.
question.
Like, it's fine. Go ahead.
So, would it be fair to say that most people, and we'll say at our class, our level, are not doing it the way, or not doing it the way I'm doing it, but not thinking the way I'm thinking?
I think there's a very specific pocket who think the way that you're thinking. Like again, it's like I'm not gonna say it's like you alone, but I will say you're a lower number. Like I think a lot more comedians fall towards my thing of like you want to do it. It is important to you, but other life stuff is really hard to say no to. Like it's fighting so like where yours is like okay, that's the thing. The enemy of the best is the good. I don't know if you've ever heard that. I feel like I've said it 1,000 times, but it's like because you start lower and you have to work up, you have more respect for it and you have to try harder because you're trying to get to like at like because you started like below average. Everybody else started at average. It's harder to get from average to good than it is to go from really bad to good. And so like your push is like, yeah, I've been hindered. I've been stopped my whole life and I have to push past being stopped in order to get to even normal. So of course I don't want to stop once I hit normal because I pushed through getting to normal. I'm not going to just quit because I'm at normal. I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to keep going. You have a push. Those of us who start at normal, it's harder for us to push past because we're comfy. Like it's hard. Like if you're a spoiled rich kid who gets everything they want, it's hard to want to do anything. That's why retirement usually causes people to like die quicker because when you don't have to do anything, when you're chilling, like usually the human nature is to conserve. Human nature is to conserve energy and all that stuff. So our innate state is to kind of like chill. And so I think a lot more comics like it's kind of that joke of like why people like kind of want to talk down about it. It's like there is a certain level of like laziness to the art form because you get up there, you talk, then you get up. Like at a professional level, don't get me wrong, it does take a lot of obviously we know the behind the scenes, but to a regular person, it looks like you go up there, talk for 2 hours, and you made $100,000 for that. Like it looks like it's not that much, and I think that's part of the buy-in, and also the barrier to entry isn't high. Like to start stand-up comedy, you just sign up for an open mic. To start being a doctor, you have to go through 6 or 7 years of medical school. Then you get to start being a doctor. And even that's not true. Usually you're kind of an intern, and then you work up the ladder to resident, and then eventually you're like a real doctor. So I think that low barrier to entry, followed by like how much you don't have to do, innately invites a certain personality type. Me and my friend talked about like it's kind of like cops. Like if you're usually a cop from one of two places. Either you were a person who really wanted to help genuinely and you care about people and you're trying to do that, or you're a person with no power who wanted some power and you found the way to get power was to become a police officer and kind of roll your weight around. And so those are the two things that attract that world. In comedian world, it's like people who have real drive and artistry and really want to do it and are about it, and like people who don't want to work a desk job. Like I just don't want to do that, and it's like this is fun. It's a fun goof versus holy I got a thing to say.
Well, with the desk job stuff, like I physically can't do it. Like I feel physical pain when I'm doing jobs that are not stand-up comedy.
Okay.
Do other people not feel that? Because people confuse me.
Yeah. Because the short answer, no. People do not feel pain. It's annoying. It's not what you want to be doing. It could be kind of a drag. Like sometimes I'm at work and I'm like, this isn't the dream. Like this is really wah. But like I'm not like, this job.
I think that's one of the things that would get me in trouble in my job, because I've been working since I was fucking 14. So like every job I would be in I could feel physical pain while I was there, and I'd be looking around and people would seem irritated or maybe they wanted to be whatever, and they would be like, you just got to be positive, man. Just fucking, why are you being so negative, Aaron? And it's like, because I feel like someone is punching me in the temple while I'm here every single second. And I cannot not be a comedian. Like if I'm not a comedian, I'm going to kill myself. Yeah. I physically can't do it. So I don't know. It makes me wonder what's going on in other people's heads when they're just doing their day job. Or when people are trying to half-ass comedy, that confuses me.
Right. Because, because the long and short of it is they're not feeling that pain. Like they don't have that. Like that thing that you just described. I wouldn't say, in my experience, I can't speak for everybody, but in my experience, I think most people don't have that pain. Most people have like a slight discomfort at their job. Like it's comparatively to what you're describing. Like it's not a physical pain compared to what you're describing. It's a slight discomfort. I think you have a similar thing to a friend of mine where like you guys are so used to your thing, and it's not crazy. Obviously, like you assume that everybody thinks like you or has your stuff until you learn that they don't. And like my friend, it's like she has this thing with sadness, with dealing with sadness. And she kind of thought, oh, everybody just has this thing that's kind of looming over them. And I was like, that's not how I operate or how I assume a lot of people operate. And then it's like, oh, so yeah, I get why you're confused, because yeah, if we all felt that pain, then yeah, we probably would have more like, oh, I gotta do this. Because I don't think for most comics, you can tell it's not a life or death thing. It's not like if I don't do stand up, then I'm dead. It's for some comics, even for me, it's like if I don't do stand up, I'm going to pick another art. I'm going to do something else, but it's not like it's over. It's over for me. It's like I'll find another outlet. I'll find another thing to do my thing. Nobody can stop me in some regard. And I have other things that I like and do and all this stuff. And it's that. Where it's
think that's... Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, that was pretty much the thought.
I think that's why I'm jealous of boring people. Like, I'll perform on the street or whatever, and I'll have... It's really strange. I'll have, my 3 a.m. Denny's energy joke.
Yeah.
I'll have those types of guys in particular that you can, you get, this is going to sound douchey, but like you get this vibe that they're like, oh, I want to be him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's like, do you trust me? You don't. This, I know it seems like this is a blast or whatever, and in many ways it is. Yeah. But like when I'm not here, when you're not seeing me, I'm going through absolute hell. Like your life is this. Mine is, oh, I'm doing stand up and I'm working on it's COVID. I can't do it right now. Oh no, this isn't good. Oh no. So like, yeah.
Okay, here's another question. How much do you relate to Kanye West?
I guess the better question is how much do I pay attention to him?
Oh, that's interesting. Because to me, this is where I say that, because to me, and I've made this comparison with my friend, because she's also like, I'm a character. Like I'm not normal. I'm like a little bit out there. And so when I interact with the world and I'm having my like day job or whatever, she's like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like right. It's like, why are you always having these things at work and like all this stuff? And I'm like, okay, imagine like Kanye West had to work a desk job.
Fucking Kinko's.
Like if he was just at like a Foot Locker. Like if he just worked at a Foot Locker, that doesn't work. That's like a discrepancy of character. It's like that's not what you're supposed to be at. That's not where you're supposed to be. So as much as everybody looks at him like a manic crazy, it's like, yo, that's where he fits. That's where it works for him. In some regards, you can make hard arguments because, mental stuff. But the reason I ask, and the reason it's interesting that you don't watch him at all, because he seems, from how you describe it, he seems like he has that same thing that you had, like that darkness that's kind of looming on him at all times that he's pushing through to make it work. But then he also has like cameras on him all the time, so we catch a lot of that. Like in that, do you think that people would Kanye you if they had like Kardashian cameras on you all the time?
Yes,
I think that I find it fascinating.
I think a better comparison, because I don't pay attention to Kanye, I think, and I'm going to stop saying it's douchey because at this point it's becoming redundant and you get where I'm coming from. But I think a better comparison would be to a Michael Jordan or Dave Chappelle or a Tyler, the Creator, where it's like Michael Jordan is built for basketball. Dave Chappelle was built for stand-up comedy. Tyler, the Creator, was built for music. And they all just happened to be put in positions where, like, it was at least mildly encouraged. Enough, like, Michael Jordan's family put him in basketball. Cool, he did it. Fucking Dave Chappelle's mom drove him to open mics. Cool, he has the support there. Tyler, the Creator, had a group of friends around him, and I think his mom was kind of supportive as well.
His mom was there, yeah.
Very supportive? Cool. You know what's consistent there? Moms being fucking supportive. I read...
Hey, Eminem's mom didn't treat him good, so what's your excuse?
And look where he is. He's insane, out of his mind. But I read Lenny Bruce's book, fucking Steve Martin, Kevin Hart, Trevor Noah, and Eddie Murphy. You know what's consistent amongst all of them?
What's consistent?
I'll tell you, Zero. Let me tell you. Their fucking moms were supportive. That's the only thing that is consistent amongst all of them.
I am set. My mom loved me a lot, so I'm in it, baby.
It is infuriating. It's what makes me get to this place of like. Were you there when I told the joke at Beltran's mic last week? You weren't there.
No, I wasn't at last week, Beltran. No.
Oh, my set did not go well. I said I had a joke that was basically like it went something like.
We have 9 minutes, by the way.
Oh, okay. It went something like when your mom texts you. You shouldn't think to yourself, should have killed her when I had the chance. I think it's hilarious, but apparently they weren't feeling it.
I think it has legs. I do think I know you on stage, and then it's like there's a finesse to that. There's like I know what you mean because I've talked to you this long. We have hours. What is this episode like 23? We have a full day's worth of content now. So congratulations to us. But also that's really weird. Anywho, once you've experienced Aaron in a 24-hour chunklet and you watched all of the stand-up, not even comedy, the one-man show, once you get that whole picture and then you see you do it, it's like, I see what he's saying. I get what he means. But yeah, he probably should have said it a little like for the rest of us who haven't had an abusive mom. Just sugar it a little bit because now we just feel bad for you. Like now, it's just like I was making this joke at the open mic I hosted last night, and it's like I love open mics at a certain point because it's comedians working on their material, and sometimes they get real, and then it's just them saying sad stuff, like just how you both have a great day. Keep rocking. I think he meant hope. But thank you. We appreciate. Thank you for stopping by. But yeah, it's like at a certain point, and this is a shout out to anybody who is thinking about going to an open stand-up mic. Highly recommend because both it is good to watch people do their art and all that stuff. It's really great to watch them grow and change, and it's sometimes very funny, good stuff. But even when it's not funny, it's hilarious because comedians are like they have darkness and they're trying to turn that darkness into light, but in that journey sometimes they'll just say some really sad thing and then it's like, oh you just said a sad thing and I was supposed to laugh at that thing you said. Okay, all right, I guess, sure.
That's what working on being present is for. Like, the more I think about the past, the more infuriated I get. Because I'm like, you didn't give me a chance. If it's one of those things, you did not give me, no one gave me a chance. The fact that I did not kill people, that I did not beat any of my girlfriends, that I didn't kill myself is a miracle. And people don't fathom that, like, you are lucky that this is what this is, that this is coming out in this way, because it could have been insurmountably worse. So,
Right. And it's that thing where and I think it's one of the reasons that you fascinated me because you confirm a theory that I have in a lot of ways, but like, it's the classic thing of nature nurture, right? And obviously there's clearly nurture and nature in there. The nature is the only thing that kept you from doing the horrifically dark things.
The
nature. So who you are outside of the thing that happened around you. Whereas the nurture is the thing that put all that darkness in your soul. Yeah. And at the same time, it is an uphill battle for you because it's so interesting to hear like you're doing stand-up comedy, but in your mind, there's a level of like, you guys are lucky it's coming out like this. Like you guys are lucky I didn't kill my mom.
You know, okay. I have a weird comparison. How do you feel about Michael B. Jordan?
Dude, I have thoughts, but essentially my main thought, I could sum it up in like 2 sentences. Michael B. Jordan is the most famous, attractive black man for having 1 hit. Maybe 2.
He was in The Wire. He was in Chronicle. He was in Fruitvale Station.
He was in The Wire as a little kid in season 1 who got shot. He was in Chronicle, that movie that had kids have powers for us. Like, I haven't talked about Chronicle since this conversation.
I love Chronicle.
This is the last time I talk about Chronicle. Like, I promise it will never come up. 3, don't tell me that his only 2 movies are not Black Panther and Creed 1.
Fruitvale Station.
Fruitvale Station?
Fruitvale Station.
Fruitvale Station.
Yeah, you need to look up his IMDb because he is a fantastic actor.
The fact that you have to tell me that proves my point.
Whatever.
Like nobody is talking about Michael B. Jordan and Fruitvale Station.
Black people do. Fucking not Coons. Coons.
You know why black people do? Because he's attractive. He's not a bad actor. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm saying people are giving him way too much credit for him being an attractive black man who acts good enough. He does not have a standout role that isn't Black Panther and Creed, kinda. I'm not even giving him Creed and time. No, regardless, no. I have a box about Michael B. Jordan. He is a handsome black man.
The vibe of him, though.
Okay.
Just not his, all the other stuff aside, just his vibe, his presence. I think if you had put me in his situation, same vibe. Like, if I wasn't put in the situation I was put in, I would have been that type of guy. And that's what makes me so fucking angry, is because the nature thing of it, of like, in my nature, I didn't want to hurt anybody. I wanted to be positive. I wanted to present. I wanted to create art. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to be silly. I wanted to be nice. That is in my nature. But everything around me really fucked with that. And so what makes me so angry is like, I didn't choose to exist this way. I didn't choose to be in the neighborhood with the mom that I had, with the school that I went to. The world did. And they had just left me the fuck alone.
There it is. That's a t-shirt you need. You just leave me the alone. If they had just left me the alone, and then on the back it would be like, I wouldn't be this.
So I think that's, and again, still working on it. Like, this isn't the only reason I'm ranting about it like this is because we're talking about it. On a day-to-day, I don't do this.
That's good. That's progress. That's what we call progress.
Yeah, it's like, when I say it's not fair and people's response, or like the William Holland response would be, well, life's not fair. And it's like, well, fuck you. You're not dealing with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is easy for those of us on the outside to discredit it a bit.
Yeah. It's like, yes, I know life's not fair, but then acknowledge then, don't fucking dismiss that what I'm going through isn't dog shit. That is not it's so fucked up.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, speeding running the ending of this episode. So that's been A to Z, you guys. I got 30 seconds to make this work. Okay, real quick, I've been Zero Rimson. You can find me at @0_KR Anime. That's been Aaron Chase. You can find him at Aaron Chase 91. Both of those things on Instagram. You can also find this podcast on YouTube under Buddy System Comedy. Just Google search that, or A to Z. You probably have to do both because, you know, there's a lot of A to Z stuff. Also, you can watch the ACMM also on the Buddy System Comedy page. Thank you for those of you that were in the live chat. And thank you for those of you who are watching later. We appreciate you, and leads.